announcement has been paid for by the nWBro's podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Blade, Big Kev, and California. It's the nWBro's podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the nWBro's podcast. I'm one of your hosts here, California, for episode 8, the Hog Wild 1996 review. It's great to be with you all once again, and I got to introduce my co-host. First and foremost, Blade. How you going, bro?
Good, man. Good. I am really looking forward to getting to Hog Wild. Got a lot to cover.
Yep. It's a lot to talk about, that's for sure. And, of course, our other esteemed co-host here, he's been having some more troubles this evening getting organized for this. It's Big Kev. What's going on, man?
Technical difficulties. I'm hoping my audio sounds really great tonight. I'm not actually sure if I've been using my mic the whole time, so we'll find out.
It doesn't matter. At least we can hear you, mate. So, look, okay, guys. As per usual, I'm doing this every week, asking another question for people to get to know the nWBro's and what they like and what makes them tick. This question for this week is, who is the most underrated wrestler of all time, in your opinion? I'm starting with you, Kev.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick. Can I pick more than one from different eras?
Okay, all right.
I think the 80s, 90s stuff. I think Mr. Perfect was really underrated. I think he should have been a world champ for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think another one would be Chris Kanyon. I thought he was really underrated. I think his moveset, everything about him, I think he was very unique, and I think he could have done way more than what he did. But yeah, that'd be my two ones that stick out to me that are very underrated.
Okay, that's a few good choices there. How about you, Blade?
Yeah, I mean, in the prep time that we had to come up with this answer, I really racked my brain, and I feel like I can't pick between these two, so I'm just going to give them both shout out. Scott Hall, I feel definitely should have won at least one. And another WCW alumni, William Regal. I also feel like he should have been at the dance at some point.
Right, two guys who didn't get their just desserts. Is that what you're saying?
It.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
I like those choices. I'm going to go with Raven. I think Raven was just the complete package, the character, the mic skills. He was good in the ring. WCW could have done more with him, and WWE certainly could have done more with him. But just another victim of Vince McMahon deciding that he doesn't like you and he's never going to give you a chance. Imagine a Raven like Undertaker feud. Like, that would have been great, but no. Anyway, let's move on here, guys. We've got a lot to talk about because we're reviewing Hog Wild, brother, on August the 10th at the Sturgis Rally and Race in Sturgis, South Dakota. This was, again, as we know, WCW's building at this point in time, guys. And I'm going to go to the buy rates here once again. As I quoted before, Great American Bash, 170,000. Bash at the Beach, 250,000. We go down slightly lower here, though, for Hog Wild, 220,000 buys. So, it's still in the area, but obviously
it's hard to top that. Who's the third man? Like there was much more of a emphasis on that in the last pay-per-view, whereas this one was like we didn't really know if there was going to be a fourth man.
No, it wasn't like it's been hinted, but we never knew if we were definitely getting it or not. But we're at Sturgis, the 56th annual event. We start off the show here, and for everyone out there, we did cover the pre-show, which was airing live for WCW Saturday Night. So this is a whole heap to get through there, but we'll try and skim through it, everybody. The first thing I noticed, and we're going to fashion here, and so we're going to Blade. Come on, man.
I knew it.
Okay, Dusty Rhodes and Tony Schiavone's outfits. Now, Dusty, not so bad, but Blade, what did you think of what Tony was wearing?
Oh man, I started laughing as soon as I saw it, and I mean even Dusty's like cut off shorts. I'm like, dude, this is like it's phenomenal. And I talk about it later, but I'm just going to mention it now because we're talking about this. But Like, I thought Mean Gene looked cool as fuck. I was actually like, what the fuck, dude? Like, how does he pull this off? But he's doing it. He rocks the fuck out of what he's wearing. So I love it.
Yeah, Biker Gene certainly got over with me, but Tony Schiavone, like he even had a fake tattoo on. Eric Bischoff said on the 83 Weeks episode about Hog Wild that he actually put on a fake tattoo because he doesn't have any tattoos. So
It was one of those ones we used to get with the bubble gum. You remember them?
yeah. All right, well, let's move forward here, guys, into the first match of the pre-show here. Rough and Ready, Dirty Dick Slater and Mike Enos taking on the Public Enemy. Kev, any thoughts here?
Yeah, it's a nice quick match, this one, which was good. I just when it started, I just really liked the outdoor venue. It's just a spectacle the way, they were coming from the roof, and we're getting the sort of the visual from the top, which was really cool. Yeah, I miss the days when you get like a pre-show like this. It's building the pay-per-view, and then you got the time to order the pay-per-view. It's like a last minute thing. Obviously, what you called in WWE, there's Sunday Night Heat.
Yeah.
Whereas this had this kind of that kind of feel as well. It's building up. It's giving you a last chance to order the pay-per-view. I still really like that. This is a quick match. Public Enemy and Rough and Ready. It wasn't a pretty match by no means, but just a nice quick match to start the show. Yeah, it was fun.
Excellent, mate. Blade, how about you?
One more thing.
Yes,
I loved in this one. I think it was maybe at the end of the match where there was when Public Enemy won the match. There was a girl in the crowd, a woman. She was sort of dancing to his music, big bazooms, and Dusty goes, Dusty without missing a beat says, "Hello, darling." That was beautiful.
So good. Blade, what about you?
I mean, much as Kev said, it was a bit sloppy. Like, there was just some things I was like, guys, like, tighter punches, like I had here, like, Dick Slater's punches were horrible. Huge pop-up powerbomb by Mike Enos, I thought was nice. There was a bit of a sloppy segment in the middle where they all sort of like ran at each other and then like crashed and sort of like, I was like, just poorly timed. And then Rocco at the end with that senton, like, man, it looked like he almost landed on the top of his head.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, he sort of hits, I can't remember who he pinned, but he like sort of hits their body as well. And I'm just like, this looks so dangerous.
That's the thing with Public Enemy. Every match is such a mess, but like it's a part of the charm.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, a rough opener, but hey.
I mean, we were speaking about the underrated wrestlers before they opened the show, but I thought Mike Enos was quite an underrated dude. I think they could have done way more with him.
Context. Mike Enos, not anus. Enos. Get your head out of the fucking gutter. Mike Enos is best known for his time in the American Wrestling Association and World Championship Wrestling under his birth name. He also had a stint in the WWF as Blake Beverly. For much of his career, Enos teamed with Wayne Bloom as the Destruction Crew and the Beverly Brothers. He was certainly a jacked-up son of a bitch. I bet the ladies like to call him Enos the Penis.
I don't know what happened to that guy.
He's, geez, what's he got? He's got some sort of like plumbing business or something like that, I believe. He left the business in 2000 after, I think, a tour of Japan.
Okay.
Yeah, but I always thought he was very good and very
big guy, had good look.
Yeah, and he never really fucked up a lot. He was full of power moves, and he just wasn't ever given a chance. And as we know, this was the guy who was known as the Mauler when Scott Hall showed up on Nitro a few months prior. And I checked, and he used that name 4 times before going back to his normal name. So I don't have anything else to add other than I can't believe they didn't do anything with the table. They brought it all the way out there, and they didn't put anyone through it. Anyway, let's move forward. We got Biker Gene Okerlund with Public Enemy. All I can remember is Public Enemy yelling, and they want a tag title shot. Do you guys have anything to add here? Blade.
I had just a couple of things that Rocco was saying I actually managed to pick up on.
Okay.
I don't care who they are, not who they are, or who they are, but dare. Um, I said, rest in peace, Rocco, but he's not the most eloquent of men. No new world order could take over the greatest wrestling in the world, WCW. Not like wrestling federation or group or organization, just the greatest wrestling, WCW. It's just not good English. And I mean, look, yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, other than that, I laughed at the end of the segment when Gene says that he's going to open a ladies' lingerie shop in town. Gene obviously is on a tear again, straight off the bat.
I don't remember that at all. Kev, do you have anything that you
Yeah,
noticed here?
pretty much exactly the same what Blade said. Yeah, just the Gene with the women's lingerie store at the end. I was like, what? Like, what are we talking about? Yeah, pretty much the same. I just think I liked Public Enemy sort of said that if WCW got together a bit more, the NWA couldn't take control. So that was
Yeah.
about the best line think they came out of that.
Very good, very good. Let's move forward here. The next matchup, Konnan, still with his name being spelled incorrectly, taking on Chavo Guerrero Jr. Kev.
Yeah, we got a little replay how this sort of happened, didn't we? It was a match I think it was Flair and Chavo, and a sort of
Yeah.
they should have been showed that how that sort of got set up. We got Mike Tenay joining the commentary team again. I like when he comes in; he gives a bit more of an insight. Yeah, this was a pretty quick match too, wasn't it? I like Conan's music. I think it's pretty kick-ass music.
Yeah.
Yeah, Conan quickly put Chavo away, and I thought his finisher was pretty sweet as well. So there's not much in this one.
No, nothing much at all. Blade.
Yeah, it very much the same as Kev. Apparently this was the first time that these two actually wrestled, which I thought was interesting. And they sort of go into a bit of an explanation that there's a family history there, that Konnan has looked up to Chavo Sr. as like one of his idols. So I don't know, I just thought it was cool. And like Kev said, Mike Tenay provides a bit more like legitimacy and authenticity to like the proceedings. He clearly knows what he's talking about in this arena. So yeah, the other thing was I also thought Conan's finisher looked awesome. And I think the promo afterwards, I'm sure we'll probably touch on that briefly, but it did seem very apparent by Conan's sort of actions here that it looks like he's going to be turning heel very shortly.
Yep, good call. I don't have much to follow up on other than it's weird watching Konnan wrestle in tights. And this was the eighth match of Chavo's WCW tenure and the sixth one that was televised. So he's only new in the company. And I noticed Konnan called out Hogan again. That's not going to happen, bro. But yes, to allude to what Kev was saying before, I like how this is Gene's bread and butter. Gene's trying to get people to buy the pay-per-view at the last minute. And and I hate to pick on WWE today, but their pre-shows fucking suck. You might get one match, but there's a whole hour of them standing around a fucking panel fucking talking about it's just so bland. Anyway.
You're not gonna miss anything if you don't watch it. That's the thing. You're not gonna miss any sort of developments or nothing. It's just yeah, really, as you said, just bland.
Yeah, there are no developments like Sunday Night Heat. There might be something that happens that affects what happens on the pay-per-view. There was something that happened here later on that affects someone on the pay-per-view later. It's important. Okay. They've even got a helicopter here for Sturgis, which is nice. And I'm not sure if either of you are aware of this information, but everyone in the crowd, this is free. So patrons don't pay for a ticket for this. So it's a bit of a loss, but I understand through listening to 83 Weeks why Eric wanted to do it, and I will get to that a little bit later. Nasty Boys in the next matchup, taking on High Voltage.
You're not going to address the glacier the glacier vignette.
The blood runs cold vignette.
Do you think? Do you think Glacier just was is this the wrong year for him to be doing this? How long it took for him to debut? It was just too late by that time.
I don't know why the vignettes and the adverts for him coming to WCW, why it took so long to put him out there. I don't understand.
Because I looked up the Mortal Kombat when it came out. It was 92. So this is like 4 years later. And it's
fucking hell.
I think he was just a victim of it was just too late.
Yeah. Yeah, because when the whole angle does start, it really sticks out like a sore thumb. I liked the angle, to be honest with you, but it didn't have a place in 96 and 97. But yeah, Nasty Boys in High Voltage. Blade, do you have a favorite high voltage match before seeing this?
Such a stupid question to ask. Like, of course not. Yeah.
But this is the first time you're seeing a bit of high voltage here taking on the Nasty Boys. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought this was very much similar to our first match. It was a bit messy. The Nasty Boys are over in Sturgis.
Yeah, because they look like one of them.
Exactly. Yeah, they fit in 100%. Yeah, like some of the stuff was pretty sloppy, I thought. And I just love the fact that Nobs finished the match off by flinging himself like a sack of potatoes off the top rope, which was impressive. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say on it.
That's okay. Kev.
Yeah, this match kind of pissed me off, to be honest with you. It annoyed me how High Voltage just get no offense whatsoever. These two dudes are young. They're so jacked, and you could have done something with these dudes, and just getting beaten and no offense in this match kind of annoyed me, to be honest with you. I know some of my notes I said there's some classy ladies in the crowd. I think there's a few during this match. There's just some rough looking birds. I said Nasty Boys all the offense. I found it a bit annoying. I thought they could have gave a little bit to these guys, but they gave nothing.
Right, yeah. Because I always thought High Voltage had such potential. Like, these are two, like, they're jacked, but they can springboard and they can do all of this high flying stuff as well. And just a little tidbit, I actually messaged Brian Nobbs on Facebook and asked him if it's true if he and Jerry sang their own theme song, and he said yes, they sang their theme song. We're the Nasty Boys. So good, man.
It's interesting to see that they got their own music. Like a lot of the other people in the show just got the generic music number 106 on the WCW like library. That's your music, where they had their own actual music.
It's so true, man. There's so many theme songs that I know ended up being like used by more than one person. So I remember, sorry to seg into this, but Steve Mongo McMichael had a theme song, right? After he left WCW 99, 2 weeks later, the Sandman debuted as Hack. And he had Steve Mongo McMichael's theme song. Just recycled it within like 2 weeks.
It's the same thing. I remember seeing I think Greg Valentine had the same music as like Marty Jannetty 2 weeks later, and then, I think Tanaka he had the same one as well. It was like, come on.
Oh, WCW. Let's move forward again, guys. Alex Wright, Das Wunderkind, taking on Earl Robert Eaton, aka Bobby Eaton, with Jeeves at ringside. This was fucking nothing.
What was the point?
How long did this go for?
It took you longer to actually get into the match and name the competitors than it did actually happen. It was, yeah. It was a
I now need to find this out. Earl Robert Eaton. Like, they'd flown these guys in. Okay? They've flown them in to this show, and
Jeeves was there. He got a payday as well.
Yeah.
And he did even less. Like, holy shit.
Jeeves was in 2 matches.
Yeah, he was.
Alex Wright. Sorry, everyone. I need to know. Okay. 30 seconds. Flown in for a 30-second match. Brilliant. So yeah, Alex he barely hit him with that missile drop kick, by the way. And poor Bobby Eaton is entering his enhancement talent era. So we have nothing really to add there. Shall we move forward?
Yeah.
All right, let's move forward. I thought that there was an advert on this for The Crow, the film.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was very poignant at this point in time that a Crow advert would show up. Did you guys
Yeah.
notice that? Yeah.
I know what you're saying now, but I didn't think of it at the time when I was watching it. It's just like, interesting.
Right. Yeah, because maybe like just the fact that that was about to fucking go into cinemas. Maybe that's why it was like in people's heads or Scott Hall's head, because I think he was the one that suggested to Sting to be more like the Crow. So yeah. Well, I fucking never. Gene conducting more hype for Sturgis. And oh no, sorry, he wasn't. He was hyping the hotline. And then we get a Dungeon of Doom vignette. Max Muscle. I don't know what the fuck was going on here.
Yeah.
Max Muscle is, being Jimmy Hart's bodyguard. Kevin Sullivan asks, "What's the password?" Sullivan's talking and he's angry at the Horseman. And the Leprechaun debuts. The whole vignette was very dark. You could barely see anything. And I think I don't know. I don't know who said it. I don't know if it was a giant. NWA stands for No Way Out. Anyway, whatever. Do either of you have anything to add here, Blade, at all?
Well, I'm wondering, like, if it was stylized in a particular way because when they lead into the promo, they say it's in Gotham, which obviously Gotham is like the Batman, like, universe setting.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know what the correlation there was, but I found it very, very strange. When the Leprechaun popped out, Kevin Sullivan actually looked like he was going to piss himself laughing. Like he has a small break like on his face.
Really?
For just a second. It also felt really weird that Giant wasn't like, given that he's in the main event and the heavyweight champ, he didn't have a lot of focus in this promo. Like he was kind of tacked on right at the end.
Yeah.
Thought you would have probably utilized him more than he was, but yeah.
Now we got to get the Leprechaun over, brother. Kev.
Yeah, I found this really strange, this whole bit. I was like, what the hell is going on here? And in my notes, I had Giant really needs to distance himself from this stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's hurting him. I think he doesn't need to be anywhere near this at all. And he's went in a different trajectory now where he's kind of like a bit more serious, and this stuff's just bringing him down. So we know he doesn't last in this, and he does leave, which is good. But yeah, I don't know what this is.
Like, where are they? Why are they in this lair for? It's just, yeah. Look, I get it, but I think it's pretty obvious as this NWO angle is moving forward. They don't need the hokey stuff anymore.
No.
But anyway, Taskmaster, Meng, and Barbarian take on Mark Starr, Jim Powers, and Joe Gomez. So we know who's winning this one. Kev, I'm throwing to you.
Yeah, once again, this leprechaun's just running around the ring like he's got rabies or something. And what is this? What is this? I don't even get it. I don't even understand what the hell's going on here. It's just, I don't know.
What is the Dungeon of Doom? Like John Tenter was called the Shark and had like shark face paint for like teeth on his cheeks and all that. You had, what was Booty Man called? The Zodiac. Like what's going on? That's a leprechaun. Blade, anything to add?
It's funny that you mentioned that because as I was thinking, I'm like, they really do sound like a coterie of Batman villains, right? Like Zodiac, Taskmaster, Meng, Barbarian, like all of these people, they're all kind of like comic book-esque type villain, like what you would expect them to have in there. So I don't know if that was where they took that inspiration from, but I mean, god damn, this just reminds me of the stuff that like I really hate about wrestling.
Yeah.
It's like when AEW did what was the film that they did like that promo for, and I had was it wasn't Texas Chainsaw or Saw
Oh,
or
might have
something.
been.
It was so cringy, and like a dude came out like in full get up halfway through the match and was like
Oh,
a
I don't know.
zombie it was so cringy, and I was just like, this is this is what people like point to at wrestling when they want to make fun of it and be like, wrestling is shit
Yeah,
and for
this is
losers. Like
this
this is
you try convincing the parents, now wrestling's really cool, and then they walk into the lounge room and that's what's on the TV when they walk in there. They're
yeah,
like, this is wrestling?
yeah.
Oh,
It was very, very cringy. That top rope belly to belly suplex though, goddamn.
Barbarian.
Uh,
Nuts, hey.
yeah.
I didn't have much to add here. The leprechaun's name is Braun the Leprechaun, and for those playing at home, that's Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker. Um,
Really?
yeah.
Why he seems smaller. Like I know he's not tall, but he actually seems even smaller than. Wow, I didn't know that.
Maybe they were shooting it in a specific way to make him look smaller, but yeah, no, Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker, who's the guy that was the drill sergeant of the power plant.
I would love to
Um,
see that. I would have loved to be a fly in the wall for that discussion that this is going to be your new gimmick.
because he's such a serious guy, like,
Oh man.
but he does a good job, you know, to be honest with you. Apparently during this match they lost the feed to TBS, so there was a big problem with the pay-per-view, and I believe there was a power outage over like several states of the United States. um the only things I had to say was I actually think Joe Gomez had potential because his movement was good. um that's it, that's all I had to say. Meng won with a thrust kick. And Mark Starr was in this match. He was formerly in a tag team with Canyon called Men at Work, where they had the hard hats. And they were two construction workers.
Men at work.
Okay, here was a really cool thing that came up next. This was this sit-down interview with Ric Flair. Flair, he talks about, you know, thinking the Giant will win. He sells hard about carrying the flag of WCW, and Hogan's version of an organization is a cheap version. Flair was very passionate and serious here. This is what we need, not promos like Randy Savage disappearing every 5 seconds and showing up in another spot, then disappearing and showing up in front of a green screen. Some serious stuff here. I forgot who I threw it to first, so last time, so I'm just throwing it to Kev right now.
Yeah, I like this more serious tone to Ric Flair. He's more himself, more natural here. I like the line he said he thought he could coexist with the NWO, but now he realizes that's not to be because they've attacked his best friend. This was good. A bit more serious tone, which is what we do need. They were just so funny. You get this absolute ridiculous hokey stuff with the Dungeon of Doom, and then it goes to this. It's like, when's this all going to get smoothed over? When that's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
It's a real jump from one thing to the next.
Yeah, it's prevalent. WWF, I think they had it too. They were doing edgy stuff, but I think like when Russo and Ed Ferraro took over, they took on board some hokey stuff from the prior team that they needed to sort out. Like what were they called? The group of army dudes. I can't remember. Like Bull Buchanan was in the group, and Kurgan the Interrogator, and I can't remember. But anyway, Blade, anything to add here?
No, I thought Rick was excellent in this. He's really goading Hogan. And it almost looks like they're positioning the Horsemen to turn face a little bit here, which I thought was cool. And I actually liked that they went a bit full circle with what we'd seen in weeks prior. Tony apologizes to Flair on commentary for insinuating that he might have been the next member of the NWO. I liked that. I liked wrapping that up. Like, I thought it was cool that they would touch back on that.
Yes, very nice. And I was thinking of the Truth Commission in the WWF. You know, just one of those hokey things that some writing teams had to adopt. Okay, let's move forward again. We have Squire Dave Taylor with Jeeves getting a double payday here. What a day for Jeeves, bro. In his little outfit there in Sturgis. But yeah, when he went out in public, he took that off. So Dave Taylor takes on Mr. JL. Blade, do you know who Mr. JL is?
No, I have no idea. I was going to ask, actually.
Lovely. This is Jerry Lynn from ECW.
Wow, really? Okay. I mean, yes, now that you say it, but holy shit. Very, very cool.
I'm really loving this. Like when I let you know Booty Man was Brutus the Barber, and then Kev finding out the Leprechaun was Buddy Lee Parker. This is
little
so fun
gems.
for me.
These little gems.
It's fun. Blade, what did you think of the match?
Yeah, solid, quick, tidy. I always like when there's variations of moves and things as well. So the fact that there was a fall away slam and then rolled through into a pin was just like, I thought was a cool little like variation of that move. Yeah, didn't mind it whatsoever.
Very nice, Kev.
Did they fuck up and play Psychosis music?
Oh yeah, but Dave Taylor was walking out. Yeah,
Yeah, because Psychosis music plays. I was like, sick. Yeah, another Psychosis match, and then I was like, yeah. I just the only note really I had was I feel like British wrestlers at this point are some of the worst stereotyped.
yeah.
They're all like this samey kind of prancy, regal kind of people.
Fluffy shirt.
It's weird. It's just I just put that as their one of the worst stereotypes at this point in time. But
It's like Austin Powers, like
same as Blade. I thought the finisher from Dave Taylor was an interesting kind of move he done. That was it. But
what did he do? Was it the double underhook suplex into a pin?
Yeah, it was. I don't know. He fucked it up.
I don't remember.
It looks strange, but I was like, oh, okay, that's different. But yeah, quick match again.
Very nice. By the way, Mr. JL, he debuted in September of '95 in WCW, and he was the answer to the popularity of the Power Rangers, which was at its peak in 1993. So.
What?
A bit late to the game again. So anyway, well, okay, we don't really have anything else to add there. Let's move forward. Gene with Bull Nakano and Sonny Onoo. Kev, do you have anything here for me?
No, there's nothing much here. Just was sort of building up their match. I think I'm not sure if you're going to cover this, but after this segment, do you know how they were talking to people in Sturgis and say, I'm so and so, you're watching Saturday Night.
Yeah.
Some guys, I don't know if you got it, but he said he called himself the horny man. Did you see that?
No.
No? Okay. I thought that was funny.
Very good. Blade, anything here? With
oh god. Yeah.
Sonny looks great in his outfit.
Yeah. I just thought it was funny that it's like Gene, wants to talk about there's two things that are sacred in America, and it's baseball and Harley Davidsons. Can you get any more fucking American than that? Sonny burns on America for not winning Olympic gold in baseball. Obviously, it's very relevant with Atlanta '96. Sonny saying he's going to use the bike like a kamikaze, and then Gene saying, "You've got to be kidding me!" And I was like, "Yep, Gene, you're on the money." Gene is really like brutal in this as well. He's talking about Bull's hair, and then it's like coming home to her, like he says something along the lines of like coming home to her would be a lot. And then tells Sonny he's overdressed. I was like, Gene is going hog wild on everyone, brother.
That's good stuff, bro. I didn't have really anything written for that other than at 83 weeks, Eric Bischoff said when he was watching Sonny talk here, he was laughing because when Sonny talks, he sounds like a Japanese person. But he said when he talks on the pay-per-view, he's like, he's a Japanese person doing a Japanese person. He's like, it's not his voice. He's going even further with it. And Eric just thought it was hilarious.
He's just hamming it up.
Yeah. And I just thought it was funny that, Eric had noticed that. Anyway, another little segment here. Gene is back, hyping CompuServe. And then there was Ice Train sitting there on the laptop, or so CompuServe, yes, Kev.
I said I've never seen someone who's so excited about chatting online. He was just like, "Oh yeah," like he's getting right into it. It was hilarious. I thought it was good.
Clearly was not typing, like just mashing the keyboard. Blade, did you notice anything funny here at all?
I just thought the laptop was so like improportionately sized to Ice Train because he's such a big dude. So when he's like, he looks like he's like typing on a kid's laptop.
He looked like he's having the best time ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, CompuServe, they were the first major commercial online service. They opened in 1969 as a time-sharing and remote access service marketed to corporations. They introduced the GIF format for pictures and system for exchanging GIF files.
Oh,
in
wow.
in 94, it was described as the oldest of the big three information services. The others are Prodigy and America Online. And as of 2024, CompuServe.com serves as a rebranded version of the Netscape Internet Service web portal. Is that interesting for you, Blade? I know you're quite... Well, let's just say you're a nerd. You're a nerd.
Come on, man, you're ruining my cred. No, I think it's actually very interesting that they came up with the file, like the GIF. I mean, we all use GIFs like all the fucking time, like in all our conversations. That's actually very, very interesting.
I don't know why I find it so funny. I want everyone to tune into this show here and be so... Like, I can't believe the analysis on this show. I'm learning so much. You know, they're going so in depth on these things. I've just learned about CompuServe. Anyway, Stig and Lex Luger have an interview next. Kev,
Luger's had enough. He's touching himself again. He's really. I can see he's really owning in and trying to not mess up his promo. I had in my notes, I can't remember why I put this, but oh yeah, I can now. I put Sting with the headband. I was like, Blade, what's going on here? I said it looks like he's attached like a toupee, like he had the headband. It looked strange to me.
Yeah.
You got anything to add in, Blade?
I did like, these are always the things that get me, and I think I said, you know, this is where I point out things. I'm like, like, you know, this doesn't make sense. You know, so I can't remember if it's Luger or Sting, but one of them yells at the camera, "We're no longer frustrated." And I'm like, you're yelling at the camera. Like, yelling is a sign of frustration to most people, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, just, yeah, I found that very funny. Sting also makes a reference that other people refer to him as the Rock of Gibraltar of WCW. Now, the Rock of Gibraltar, and I did a little bit of reading about this afterwards.
Excellent.
Is yeah, I mean, it is a real thing, but it also has very strong biblical connotations, which I guess for Sting makes sense, as a very religious man. In the Bible, the Rock of Gibraltar is kind of referred to as like an entity that is solid or firm. So it makes sense in the context of the promo, right? He is solid and firm for WCW, right? He's one of the pillars that's currently holding the place up. So I don't know. I think it's cool when people make outside references and, you know, analogous comments. So yeah, I like that.
I feel really out of my depth here. You know, we got Blade, all this informative stuff. He's done some research. You've just told us about the history of CompuServe. And here I'm analyzing women in the crowd's breasts and other stupid shit. I got nothing, boys. I'm sorry.
I was like, and Kev can't get his microphone to work. We all have our battles.
I'm the numbskull of the podcast.
The numbskull. Okay, let's move forward here. Get away from the guys that are feeling solid, firm, and frustrated. DDP taking on the Renegade. Blade.
I don't have a lot to say. It was quick. DDP looks strong. You know, yeah.
Cool. I can't believe we're still on the pre-show here. Kev.
Yeah, there's not much to say here, but just on a note, I think Renegade's another guy that could have done more with him. I think I've said to you, Carl, I think he should have went maybe in the flock.
Definitely.
With Raven. This right now, he looks like his attire. He looks like kind of like Konnan the Barbarian a little bit, like a caveman. I don't know what his gimmick. He just got bad. He's got the bad end of the stick. I think this
I
guy with
fucked
his
him.
that warrior. He started off like a warrior ripoff.
Yeah.
He just never got a chance to really go anywhere, and I think that's a shame. I think he could have.
What were they thinking? Like, do they think they were going to trick everyone? Like, it's definitely not him. It's not the Ultimate Warrior. I don't know why they did that. I always felt bad for him,
Yeah, so did I.
honestly, because they brought him in. He beat Arn Anderson for the television title after winning several squash matches, and then after that, just lost every fucking match.
Jobbed. Yeah.
Yeah, this is '96 still, and I think he was still there until like early '99. Anyway, DDP, I think he talks about the NWO, but let's keep skimming forward here, guys. We got Gene with the Giant and Jimmy Hart in the ring. Okay, all right. So Ice Train comes out. Obviously, he had enough chatting on CompuServe. And he's trying to give Giant a pep talk to be focused here. Giant attacks Ice Train. The crowd pop. Ice Train gets laid out. And I was like, why would Ice Train why? Of all people, why would he come out to give a pep talk to the Giant like this? It made no sense. I know why they were trying to do it, because they needed to have some sort of injury angle for the Scott Norton thing. But I don't know, couldn't have Norton attacked him backstage and hurt his shoulder? Why did Giant have to do it?
And his promo didn't really make any sense. He says, "You're not being focused. You're not focused on Hogan." I think Giant's been pretty focused.
Yeah.
For what we've seen. I think everything he said didn't make any sense.
I felt bad for him.
I was left like thinking, what?
I was like, whose stupid fucking idea was this? You made him look like an idiot, and then he's got the shit beaten out of him. Like, it was all over the shop. Blade, do you have anything for me?
No, that perfectly wraps it up. It had no place here really, and in fact just sort of weakened the overall offering and presentation.
Yeah, this is pointless. But anyway, look, let's just skim through because I want to get to Hog Wild here. Hugh Morrus wrestles Arn Anderson, misses the moonsault, and Arn Anderson hits the DDT, and it's over. There's nothing to talk about here.
I didn't even have it in my notes, to be honest with you. Yeah, but there was nothing.
All right, and then the dungeon attacked Arn, and the Horseman made the save. Blah blah blah. Gene sells Hog Wild one last time. Saturday night is over, but the first 5 minutes of the pay-per-view is free. Let's get onto it, guys. Hog Wild, finally. Been talking for ages now. The Hogs are going off as Hog Wild begins. Bobby Heenan joins the fray here. He's dressed like a classy bogan. Blade, I'm throwing it to you here first.
Yeah, it's actually there's two. Can I just quickly rewind, because there are two moments I really want to talk about from the pre-show that we didn't.
Sorry, go for it.
No, it's okay. They had these little like sort of mini quasi promos, like with merch plugs tied in as well. I found both of them very interesting. So there's one with Eddie and Ray, and of course Ray, with his continued run of very average promo work, says, "This belt is going to stay on my waist," and then he points to the belt on his shoulder. And I just was like, that's
so nitpicky, bro.
Yeah, I know. Also, I thought Eddie bumbled a bit through this as well.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's wild to see him in a place where he's not cutting promos like he was towards the end of his like run in WWE. And you're just like, oh, like, of course. Yeah. Like, he wasn't always that guy.
No.
So, to go back now, I'm like, oh, it's not prime Eddie. Like, this is Eddie, back in the day. There was also one with Medusa, and you and I talked about this before we started recording. It was just weird, like really weird and kind of racist sort of stuff. So like Lee Marshall is like stringing together like nonsensical Japanese words. He's just kind of like making them up.
What?
I'm like,
really?
Yeah. And it's like none of them are actually Japanese words. They're just
Are you
Japanese.
serious?
Yeah, no, it's incredibly like just really, really like average. And then Medusa refers to Bull's Honda bike as a rice burner, and I was like, you can't say that. Like,
It's
I know,
1996.
yeah, that's it. It's just
funny.
in 20.
It's
Could you
funny.
imagine someone saying that in 2024? Like, immediately cancelled.
Huge trouble.
Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that
So fucked.
as things because I didn't want that to escape our viewers' attention. Um, yes, sorry. Back to what we were talking about before. What was I've forgotten the bookmark.
Just the beginning of Hog Wild here as
There was
Bobby enters
a
the fray.
there was a paid announcement by the NWO as well, right?
Was there?
Yes, there
Yeah.
was actually. Yeah,
Yeah, it was actually quite a good one too.
yeah.
It's not in my notes.
Well, this is why we got
Must have somehow
us
missed
guys here to,
Yeah. Pick up the
yeah,
slack.
it was like a Hogan birthday celebration, little thing they did. I liked Hogan. He was doing some like sort of devil horns. So his reflection was you could see him in the background doing that. I thought it was really cool, with the NWO and the meaning behind that.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely Hogan's shifting character. He's talking different to these two very, no, he's not doing the brother, and he's more softer spoken here, which is really cool. And I just thought Hall and Nash come off as really cool here as well.
Yeah, you can tell as time wears on, like Hogan starts like seeing the way that Hall and Nash talk and the way that they carry themselves, and you can see that he starts to copy them a little bit because Hogan's not like a cool guy, like like Nash and all are fucking cool. They got the swagger, and that's where I think Hogan he was influenced by them, and why wouldn't he be? It was what they were doing was working. But anyway, so let's get to the first match here, guys. Unless there's anything else anyone wants to mention.
No.
No? All good?
Nope, all good.
Okay, Rey Mysterio Jr. defending the Cruiserweight Championship against Ultimo Dragon, still known here as the Ultimate Dragon. Kev, thoughts?
Yes. When this started, when Ultimo Dragon came out, I was like, yes, this is going to be great. And it didn't disappoint. I thought it was really good. I like Mysterio's gear. I thought he had the Spider-Man kind of looking gear today. That was really cool.
Yeah.
The fans were really into this. I thought they really, really enjoyed this. I like how Ultimo Dragon sort of grounded Rey a lot. I love Ultimo Dragon's surfboard he does. That's really cool. He's got a sick moveset. I just loved everything. I was always a massive fan of Ultimo Dragon. Yeah, the crowd just really got into it. But there was one part where I think Mysterio did like a Hurricane Runner to the outside.
Yeah.
And the fucking cameraman really missed him leaping over. And all you see is him just coming from the sky onto Ultimo
Oh,
Dragon.
right,
But it was
yeah,
really
yeah.
cool. The crowd was really into it. Yeah, I thought it was a good match.
Very nice. Blade.
Yeah. Like Kep said, love the Spider-Man inspired gear, and we know obviously with Ray's career now, like that's something that's been thematically across his entire thing. Now he's done multiple different comic book characters, which is really cool. I had to laugh when fans started chanting USA despite it being a Japanese and Mexican wrestler in the ring.
Yeah, I have that
God,
too.
God bless America. The wrestling was clean. Obviously these are two very talented men, and so the match itself it was high quality. I really enjoyed the back and forth nature after the sort of initial control from Dragon. On commentary, something interesting that I actually was not aware of was that they were talking about some of the Japanese wrestling, and I think the J Cup at that time had just been recently, and they were talking about Jushin Liger had just been diagnosed with a brain tumor in 1996.
Yeah.
And he continued to wrestle until 2020. Like, I was just like, wow, that's insane. Like, the fact that he came back from that and continued to have such a long career, absolutely huge.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, but this was really good. This is a running theme for me throughout this show is just writing down what the commentators have been saying. Bobby said, "You know why Rey Mysterio wears that mask? Because the doctor said he was terminally ugly." That's so fucking mean. But I think I like how they're upping the ante for Rey here. You know, they had Malenko, then it's Psychosis, now Ultimo Dragon, who's definitely one of the best ever to do it in that style. Great stuff with Dusty taking the piss out of Mike Tenay. Um, and Ray beats Dragon. Very good. Let's move forward, guys. Scott Norton, Ice Train. I guess they finally broke up during the last few weeks where we haven't seen what happened between the two of them. But you can also check out my exclusive interview with Ice Train on my old podcast, the Insider's Edge podcast. And there's a graphic that probably just popped up just then. So this will be our brawl of the night. Well, I was thinking it might be. Blade, what did you think of the two big boys going at it here?
Yeah, it served its purpose, I think, for them to have their, I guess, feud ender. I don't know if they kept feuding after the point. But both guys are so big. It's kind of just that classic, like, two big bulls going at it type scenario.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a technical classic, but I thought that Norton actually stayed on Ice Train's arm really well. And like, I love that consistency. If you're going to like use that as the avenue of how you plan your match, like remain consistent with it. And I think he did a really good job with that. The only other thing I had was Ice Train's bandaging, like, it rips off at some point, it kind of comes down, and it looks like it starts to actually inhibit some of his movement. And I'm like, dude, just like rip it off. I don't know why he kind of kept it, like it restricted his arm movement.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, just like get rid of it at this point. Like, it's not selling the injury anymore.
I guess at least it wasn't like Rey Mysterio using a towel as if it was a neck brace. Kev, do you have anything to add here?
No, there's not much here.
Nah.
It was a rough match. It was a bit rough. I mean, Ice Train already got his ass kicked by the Giant, so it's kind of like, well,
it went 5 minutes and 5 seconds. And because of the match having this injury angle, so that inhibits Ice Train from really being able to do a whole lot. So it's just Norton focusing on this shoulder. As far as I'm concerned, it's just not a good idea to have them when there's two big guys like this. They can't have the angle of the match be targeting a body part because it's already going to be difficult for them to have a good match, especially in 5 minutes and 5 seconds. They should have just let them just go out there and beat the living shit out of each other without it being like this whole Ice Train fighting from underneath thing. That's just me. I think that the whole angle with him being injured by the Giant was a waste of time and it hurt what this match could have been. The one thing that I thought was very impressive though, Ice Train like power slammed Scott Norton, like the one off the ropes, like he picked him up, he rotated over and he got him all the way over. I was like, that's a strong guy. But yes, the arm breaker into the Fujiwara armbar. Referee called it off. I don't think it was as bad as how Eric Bischoff said on 83 Weeks, but it could have been better. Anyway, let's move forward, guys. Medusa with the Harley Davidson and Bull Nakano with the Honda. With Sonny Onoo at ringside here. So the WCW women's division is really starting to begin at this stage of WCW. Blade, I'm throwing it to you first. What did you think?
I mean, like, I think it was a great match that actually got the crowd into it. Like, Medusa was very clearly over in this area. She's dressed up in the Star Spangled gear. Like, these people are absolutely eating this all off. It's USA chants are deafening. At one point, Brain says on commentary, apparently nunchucks in Japanese is sledgehammer. Means such a, I don't know. And I'm like,
That's so
fuck
stupid.
off. Crowd is chanting for Harley Davidson. Like, they're just, this is playing, I think, right into the Sturgis crowd's, interests and passions. I thought the ending was a bit awkward, like the fact that the match didn't
Something
resolve.
happened.
Yeah, the bike was attacked, and then the match was called off, and then it was a bit of a kind of mess to roll out. So
I watched it a second time and I picked up on what the problem was. So the finish of the match was Nakano was going to hit that bridging back suplex. Referee counts 2. As he hits 3, Medusa's got the shoulder up, but
Yep.
Nakano's shoulder's down, even though she executed the move. They did it the first time around, and after Medusa kicked out, the referee stopped the count. So then they had to fuck around with a sunset flip, and then Nakano hit the move again, and this time the referee got it. So the referee fucked this up.
right, okay.
Yeah. Anything else, Blade, or it's time to throw to Kev?
No, all good.
Kev.
I put Medusa as a babe.
Oh,
One thing I noticed about these women, I think they sell better back here than the women now. They're really laying it in and it just looked a bit more snug and like they're beating the piss out of each other. Medusa took a lot of the punishment in this match. She didn't even get much really into it. It was more of her getting beat down. But so when the ending happened, it didn't really have that payoff that you would have wanted from taking all that punishment in the beginning, and then in the ending kind of was a bit kabuki-ish, and it's kind of just like
just something.
But yeah, the ending kind of spoiled but I don't think the crowd cared when she started just swinging the bat and smashing the bikes.
For my notes here, I know these two have battled a lot over the years at this point. I love the hair bill of women's wrestling at that point in time. Like, she's grabbing Medusa by the hair and like Medusa's spinning like a helicopter propeller. But I thought the crowd were into this. They were hot with this one. One thing I want to say about Bull Nakano, I saw a heap of moves from her that I know people use years later on. So Randy Orton's draping DDT off the second rope.
Oh yeah.
And that submission hold Paige does where she I don't know, she's
The ram. It was like the rampage. I think they called it the scorpion here.
yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Like she locks it in like an STF and then she like pulls the arms up so like the person's like in midair. And I'm like, shit. Like this was being used at this point in time. I thought like Paige came up with it or something like that. So very cool. Obviously, Nakano's been a very big influence on a lot of people. And the one other thing that I wanted to say, after this was over and Medusa got that sledgehammer, she hit that Honda a few times and that thing did not fucking move. Like,
yeah.
On 83 weeks, Eric Bischoff, he concurred and he had said, it made me want to buy a Honda. Oh God, she was wearing herself out with it. But anyway, time to get to the next one here, guys. Oh boy, this was a long one. Apparently 26 minutes 55 seconds for this matchup here. Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit. Kev.
I think Blade's not going to be like me after this. I know he's a huge Dean Malenko mark.
Huge.
There's a few factors in this match. I think it worked against this match. I think the event being where they were, the crowd was really fatigued from this match. They didn't really get into it. I think it went long. I thought it was sad in the beginning when it had, Chris Benoit came out. It was like Chris Benoit, woman, and Liz, all three of them coming out together. It was just like,
oh, it is sad, bro.
This overtime sort of stuff. Usually that's reserved for when the crowd's hot and they want to come on, give us a bit more. Whereas this crowd wasn't. They were going that because she booed with that decision. They didn't want that at all. I just think the match on this pay-per-view just didn't work for me. I was quite bored with it. It just went way too long. And then finally, woman sort of pulls the pin on the match, and I was like, "Thank goodness,"
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, I don't know why. I just found myself not enjoying this match. And I can't even tell you what the reason is. They both of them are brilliant at what they do, but I just, for some reason, for me, I just didn't get into this at all.
Maybe if you had this match in like the Boston Garden or Maple Leaf Gardens, maybe you would have got over better, but maybe in Sturgis, not so much. Blade, any thoughts?
Yeah, funnily enough, I had really conflicting feelings about this match because, they, like Kev said, these guys are both extremely talented, and like the match quality itself was really like I thought it was very high. Like, they're very fluid, very technically proficient wrestlers.
Yeah.
But I just it didn't hit for me. I don't know if it was the fact that they spent the first half brawling and then went into the technical stuff afterwards. The fact that it was nearly half an hour long. Everything else up until this point had been really short and snappy. And then you're asking people to lock in for, the better part of half an hour. But ultimately, the fact that Woman got the win, I was like, that's so fucking unsatisfying. It's such an unsatisfying way to end that as well. Obviously I don't have the context of, I don't know if they ended up having a series of matches after this or whatever. So I'm kind of just, making my commentary based on this as an isolated thing. But it felt almost like this is the sort of match that you would have as like a midway match through like a series of matches, where it's like these two are so even in like everything that they're doing, whereas like as far as I'm aware, their feud is not very established at this point. It feels like it would be the sort of early days. So yeah, I'm not marking out for this perhaps as much as you thought, Kev. Yeah, I really, I both did and did not enjoy this.
Right, fair enough. Most of my quotes here most of my notes here, sorry, are quotes from the commentary team. So I like that Bobby was trying to name some moves here, and Benoit locked in what looked like a lion tamer, but Jericho hasn't been in WCW yet, so Bobby called it the Canadian Crippler Crab. Dusty, there was a shot of Woman and Liz at ringside, and he said, "Look at them eyes of them devilish women." Then Bobby, when they panned to the crowd, he said, "Look at the sea of heads." It was just fun listening to these three commentate and kind of zoning out of the match a bit because it was going so long. It was a wheelbarrow suplex attempt which got reversed, and Bobby said, "It's like wrestling a wheelbarrow." Stupid. We get the time limit draw. Then that's the point in time when Bobby said about Woman, check the gams on her. We get the 5-minute overtime. One note I also had then, back then you felt like people could win a match with any move. Now they can't even win with their finishing move. Thank you. I was laughing as well at Woman because when she screams at ringside, it's like she's seen a car accident or something horrible like that. And it's just like someone got a small package and she screams. And well, geez, what was happening at some stage here? Woman was yelling at Benoit, and the discussion took place on commentary here. And Bobby said to Tony, when a woman yells at you, does she encourage you? Because he's arguing that woman was encouraging him. And Tony said, no, she just yells at me. So I only wrote notes on the commentary here. The second time limit draw, that was the mistake. The fans were not happy about that. They shouldn't have done it twice. They booed when they announced it. They were revving the Harleys. And I was just thankful again, as Kev said, the Woman got involved. And Chris,
she got a cheer as well from the crowd for fucking pulling the pin in the match.
Yeah. But here's the thing, right? And I want to make this fucking point. Look at how they make Woman a game changer. She helped Flair retain the US title, or win the US title. Sorry, Bash at the Beach. Yeah. She has helped Chris win here. She's constantly in the mix. She's constantly being a game changer in a match. In AEW, Camille, former 800 plus day NWA Women's Champion, gets signed by AEW. I'm annoyed by this. She becomes Mercedes Monet's fucking heavy, her bodyguard. Not once in the whole time Mercedes had her as a bodyguard did Camille do one thing that changed the complexion of a fucking match she had. Even though Mercedes is the size that she is, she never really needed Camille's help. And now Camille's losing to people who Mercedes is defending her title against at pay-per-views. Camille's supposed to be like Diesel. She's supposed to be the game changer in the match. She does one thing, changes the complexion of the match. Woman here is nowhere near the size of Camille or Diesel, but she's still finding a way here. And they're utilizing her in a way which I don't think they utilize any valets or managers. Like Scarlett in WWE, Kev. Like, we're fans of her. Blade, I don't know if you've seen her with Karrion Kross. She doesn't do fucking anything.
I've seen her.
Oh yeah, we've all seen her. You got that burned into the brain, that's for sure. We're all
I gotta agree with that comment that Ryback came out with semi recently.
What now?
Like talking about like he has no problem with her being on TV if it means her titties will be on screen more often. I was like, you know what? I don't agree with Ryback often, but fuck it, I'll give it to him.
He's on the ball there, bro.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, why is it back then, Nancy Benoit, even Liz, they're utilized where they're actually doing something that can affect the lay of the land or the lay of the match. Now you have someone like Scarlett, it just stands there, which is fine.
And we see this in this next match as well.
We do. We fucking do. We're going to get to that now. One of the matches of the show, if not for me, match of the show, WCW Tag Team titles, the Steiner Brothers against Harlem Heat. We're starting with, I can't remember who I started with last time. I don't know why I can't remember. I think we're starting with Blade. Blade, what did you think here?
I mean, huge that the crowd hates Harlem Heat here.
Such
a big reaction. I don't know either, but I was like, this is probably...
You don't know? You seriously don't know?
Well, I mean... Yes, it may have something to do with the color of their skin and the location that they're in.
So fucked, hey.
I did say to Carl earlier, I was like, I did notice there was a fair few Confederate flags floating around on clothing and other places in the audience. I was like, that's a bit... Anyway.
Was fans of Lynyrd Skynyrd, brother.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna go with that one. Yeah, but they hate Harlem Heat here. There's such a big reaction. Like, I think it's the biggest possibly of the event so far. Scott, I just had down. He's an absolute freak of nature.
Oh, bro.
Some of his displays of strength here, I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Rick Steiner at one point yells, "Shut up, bitch," at Sherry Martel.
That was really good, yeah.
I was just like, shit. And at the end, rubbish starts getting thrown. And I was like, you don't, like, that was reserved for Hogan, like, turning here. Like, that's a pretty strong reaction for people to have.
Apparently they were throwing rocks.
Were they?
Yeah. Stevie Ray talked about it on his podcast, I don't know how long ago. But I watched the clip and I was like, they were throwing rocks? Fucking hell, man. Like,
Jesus.
That's not cool.
No.
That's so fucked up.
Because all I saw was, like, a couple of, like drink containers and stuff. And fuck, rocks. That's okay.
I guess maybe they were both being thrown, but fuck, man.
Yeah. That's wild.
Cool. Kev.
Yeah, I mean, this is the pay-per-view with the, Harlem Heat's getting racial abuse during this match. I mean, us three white guys are never going to be able to understand what it would feel like to come out there. Not only the crowd hates you because they actually hate you for the color of your skin, and I thought Harlem Heat gave it right back to the crowd and really got them fired up. They were going mental. They were bloodthirsty, and I think they did a great job. I would actually be interested to hear more from this pay-per-view from those guys. But yeah, it'd be unfathomable for us to to really know what that feels like to come out and have that many people just feeling that, growing up and yeah, it's crazy. The time it's like 96, and this is going on. But yeah, I think they did a great job. This match was really, probably one of the better ones of the pay-per-view. I thought the ending was funny with the powder. There's powder everywhere. It's like you can't even see. And the referee, the referee's absolutely clueless what's going on, and just that was pretty funny. And it's got a big shout out to Sherry, because I was always a massive fan of her growing up. I thought she was she's awesome. I just I was a big fan of her. But yeah, great match. I thought it was a great classic tag team match. And you said last pay-per-view that this was on the undercard. It wasn't on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
What? Like, why?
And I think the match on the undercard only went like 4 minutes or something.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, this was fucking awesome. I am a fan of the duo of Sherry and Colonel Parker. That entertains me. I've got to say this about the WCW Tag Team Division in 1996. At this point in time, August 96, you got the Steiners, Harlem Heat, the Nasty Boys, Public Enemy, Faces of Fear, Meng and Barbarian, the Outsiders, Sting and Luger, High Voltage. You got smaller teams like Rough and Ready and the Blue Bloods. And to think a month before Scott Hall showed up, the Road Warriors contracts for WCW ran out. Like, this is a hell of a tag division at this point in time. I wanted to put that out there. And it's only going to get better as we move on through 96 and 97. One of my favorite things in commentary here, Bobby asking Dusty if he would join the NWO. And Dusty gives a pretty emphatic no, right? Now it's time for Bobby to be asked the question. And Bobby won't answer. And when they try to give it to him straight to answer the question, he gave such a non-answer. It's like, would you join the NWO? Well, if you two stay strong and stay here, you should do that. Did not answer the question. Oh, fuck. He's such a fucking little prick. I don't know how I don't really want to talk about moves and shit. I just thought that Booker and Scott Steiner definitely have great chemistry. And I thought Booker's athleticism at that time was just unbelievable, man. Like, when he went for a Harlem sidekick, and he pulled himself on the top rope, like, he was pretty close to clearing the whole top rope and going to the floor.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, I thought this match was tremendous. And, I compare it, and I'm sorry to do it again, but I compare this tag division and these two teams to the AEW Tag Champs Private Party, the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and JD McDonough, and the Motor City Machine Guns. These teams would fucking kill them. But the sun is starting to go down. It got a lot of time, and it was all over after, the powder and Scott Steiner got a cane snapped over his skull. So, good stuff. We get some highlights of Sturgis here, guys. They did a big ride to Sturgis together. Blade, what did you think of all this?
Yeah, very, very lovely scenic tour through beautiful Sturgis. Complete with the name of the place and the field. That's brilliant. Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of well-read highbrow intellectuals in Sturgis.
I bet it stank.
Oh yeah. No, I bet you it smelled, and it was really loud. In fact, the bikes at a point started to piss me off. I was just like, shut up, like, man. Yeah, oh god. I think it would have been a nightmare to be there personally.
Yeah. I reckon I'd have fun, to be honest with you, but
I think you would. I'd want to be home playing like World of Warcraft or
nerd.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough. Kev, anything, would you like to go to Sturgis with me one day?
Of course.
Like,
Some,
I can't ride a bike, but
I thought DDP here, he just fit in really well. He looked like he was part of them, you know. Thought
I reckon he can fit in with anyone
he
back
had
then.
he had a girl in the back seat with them. I didn't see who it was though.
Right.
It wasn't Kimberly Page. It was, I don't know who it was though.
Really?
Yeah, interesting.
I'm pretty sure Big Bubba had a woman on the bike with him
Yeah.
too. Ray Trailer, come on. It's probably his wife. Okay, let's move forward, guys. Ric Flair, Eddie Guerrero, United States Championship. Kev, what did you think?
I was surprised the crowd was quite into this. Uh, I think probably because of the star power of Ric Flair. Um, and I hate when Ric Flair's ass gets exposed.
So
He gets
fucked,
pulled
man.
out of super white. Here we go. Woman again is cheating and influencing the match. Um, I like the finish of this match too because you don't see this too often where the person gets pinned from a submission, and that was
Yeah,
caused, once again caused by women sort of holding Flair down to give more leverage, I guess. But yeah, I thought the ending was interesting. I thought it was a pretty good match too. I thought it was just wasn't overly long, and it was yeah, I dug it.
excellent. Blade.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I mean, like, if we're talking about being marks, like I love myself a bit of Ric Flair. I found it very funny that prior to the start of the match, when he's outside the ring, he's already talking about a scandalous liaison that he's gonna have with a female member of the audience. You and me, baby, later tonight. He's like, you know, Rick then getting into a shoving match with Eddie, and then he gets shoved by the
The
referee.
referee.
Like it's so fun. It's just classic Rick shtick that we all know and love. Um I did, yeah. Flair's pasty white ass exposed to the world
A
for everyone
horrible
to
ass.
see. Yeah,
He's always
it's difficult to watch. Um yeah, I thought it was like really quick, pretty snug. I'm surprisingly, I thought Eddie and Rick actually had some chemistry.
very nice. Yeah, I thought so too. Um, and I thought also that Liz in leather. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I thought Rick was going to be a transitional champion here, but he retains. For some reason, I don't know why I thought he was going to lose it, but because oh, no one's putting over the young stars. Shut up. Shut up. He's putting him over by having a match with him and making him look like a threat. Shut up. It's not about wins all the time, It is sometimes, but not in an occasion like this. I'm not going to go on about the moves again, but I think Rick is such a master of telling a story in a match because he's creating a narrative of how he manages to get the advantage when he's being clearly outclassed at the beginning. He always finds a way to worm his way into the offense of the match. Nothing else to say except I can tell Tony Schiavone was getting annoyed at Bobby because every time there was a near fall, Bobby said, "Oh, he got him!" And Tony was like, I could tell. And by the way, the rumors are that Bobby Heenan was drunk during this pay-per-view. And Eric explained it like they're at Sturgis, they're there all day. They're not in. Some of them aren't enjoying themselves. They don't want to be dressed like that or around those types of people. And I guess Bobby decided to get on the sauce. Let's move forward, guys. Gene again with the Giant and Jimmy Hart. So another interview here. Jimmy Hart was chewing gum here, and I don't understand people who are always chewing gum. I don't want to seg into this too much, guys, but Blake, how do you feel about people chewing gum incessantly like that?
Yeah, I mean, it sort of has like a bit of a drug-addled mania to it, doesn't it? Like, if you told me that Jimmy had just like railed a massive line of coke, I would be like, yeah, of course he fucking has. Like, look at him, he's twitching all about the place. Yeah, it is what it is.
To depth of analysis again, talking about Jimmy Hart chewing gum. Um, Giant talks about his fandom of Hogan here. I thought he killed it. Kev, anything to add?
Yeah, it was good from Giant here, a good little promo again. But I think maybe Giants have been a little overexposed. Not overexposed is not the word. They've just put him on the show too much before the main event.
Too many promos.
Why is you could have achieved this in the one thing? The ice train bit. What was the point of that?
That didn't need to happen.
So yeah, he's multiple times he's being on the pre-show plus this. I think it was a bit too much for me. But yeah, but once again, Giant did a good job.
Lovely jubbly. Let's move forward. We're very close to the end here, nWBro's. The Outsiders. Sting, Luger, tag team match. Blade, take it away.
Sting's jacket is dope. I know I keep always harping on about the fashion, but I thought it was cool. I love like the golden tassel thing and it. All the super bright colors. Like, I think it looked awesome. Hall and Luger opening, I think, was the right choice. And the frustration and battle for dominance was really clear very early on. Sting spitting at Nash, and then Nash sort of luring him in and switching on a dime to then just like sock him straight in the face was awesome. Sting getting Nash up was huge. I mean, like, I'm like, dude, you get enough like a 7-footer in like a slam. That's insane. Outsiders really worked well as a team, like an isolating Sting for a good portion of the match. This contextually makes sense, the comment you made now about Bobby potentially being drunk, because at one point he yells out, "Go Hulk." And then there's a lot of questions as to why he would have said that on commentary. I was like, is this him planting the seeds for him to join the NWO? Or like, it was such a bizarre comment. And then, of course, the ending, the dirty referee, crooked Nick Patrick with the chop block to Luger. And the match is done. I thought it was an interesting way to end the match that wasn't obvious and didn't make Sting and Luger look weak, and played right into the hand of what Nash and Hall have been doing so far. So I thought it was very, very well executed.
Wonderful. Kev?
Was this the first time we hear the NWO music as an entrance?
Yeah.
I think it might have been. That was cool. I loved Scott Hall's start to the match, the toothpick to Sting. That's always a good start. Same with Blade said. That slam from Sting on Nash was just wow.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that they just sort of did that slow, methodical pace from Nash. So Sting was getting beat down to make that hot tag to Luger. I love that bit with. I haven't seen it in a long time, and I like in this match where they. Sting's sort of dazed and he hits the ropes and then falls forward and lands right in between. I think it was Nash's legs or maybe Hall. I can't remember. I like that. I like that spot. I haven't seen it in a long time. It's just little details in this match, like Sting's face paint's all nearly off. He's been beaten down. All these kind of little things like that. And then at the end with Scorpion on the outside to Nash, that was a good. I like how that was happening while the ending was happening. That's pretty cool. And then you got the dirty Nick Patrick, obviously getting paid off to be the NWO's referee. So yeah, it was a nice, not nice word, but it was a good way to end the match and leave some questions to what the hell's going on here. And as Blade said, protect Luger and Sting as well.
Yeah, well said. Here's my notes, right? Blade. Nash's grey elbow pad was bothering me. Did you notice that at all? I think
yes.
black.
No.
Grey's, I've got a problem with grey.
Yeah, especially when you're wearing a full red outfit.
Yeah, just doesn't work. Glad you feel as passionate about it as I do.
Next show, I'm gonna I'm going to be like a fine-tooth comb finding some sort of
Something really.
some fashion in the next
Some
show.
fashion faux pas.
Yeah, I've come up with nothing so far.
Yeah.
um, these are stars here, right? I love when Nash got tagged in, slowly steps over the top rope. As he's doing that, Luger's shaking his boobies like this. Nash wants Sting. He spits on Sting. Sting spits back when he gets in the ring. When I look at Hall and Nash working here, it's prevalent to me how much of a loss for the WWF it was to lose those two. No wonder Vince thought he couldn't lose Brett as well. Yeah, Nash and Hall tag together like they have for years, and this is like their first, or second, I guess, tag team match together.
Wow.
I know that they like done a little bit here and there, but like way before when like Nash was Oz and Razor was Diamond Stud. But honestly, I think it's like the second time they teamed together. I love Bobby getting caught being on the fence about everything and accidentally yelled out, "Come on, Hall." Then he apologized. What else is there that I can say that's at least interesting? No, nothing else other than I think if you guys recall, one of the nitros along the way to Hog Wild, I believe someone from the Horsemen knocked out Nick Patrick during that segment where they were beating down the Booty Man. So I reckon that was like kind of a thing because they pointed it out. Oh, Nick Patrick's been knocked down. I reckon that might be the seed that was planted.
Yeah, clever.
Patrick, yeah. So at least they're planting seeds, not just doing it for the fuck of it. And one thing though, okay. So Scott Hall's getting picked up for the torture rack, right? Like when you watch it back, to somebody who's not really paying too much attention to it, they would have thought, oh, Nick Patrick had the Scott Hall's feet hit him in the eye and really hurt him. When you look back, it was like the slightest graze, and Nick Patrick kind of like leaned into it. It was so fake, but to the naked eye, not looking out for it, you wouldn't notice it. But I did, and I thought it was hilarious. He tries a chop block once, and Luger must not have realized that he was doing it because then Nick Patrick did it a second time. I'm not sure if you guys noticed that, but it didn't matter. I just thought that a chop block from Nick Patrick was all it needed for Scott Hall to pin him. And, well, it was a bit of a fast count too. And Nick Patrick selling the slight graze of a leg to his face afterward was comical as well. But let's get to the main event of the evening here, nWBro's. Hollywood Hogan, the Giant, Kev, take it away.
Yeah, we're seeing a completely different Hogan here. He's more of a chicken shit heel, constantly going outside the ring.
Yeah.
There's nothing of the old Hogan's here, especially in his match, I guess. Yeah, the crowd were into this. I mean, that would have been a long event for them to be there all day. I'm sure they would have been fatigued. But yeah, the crowd was, it's Hogan, and I guess they were up to just they wanted to see Hogan. So I found the ref was made to look like a bit of an idiot in this match with the ending. I kind of questioned. We had Nash and Hall coming out and making an impact in the match. Where was WCW? Where's the Dungeon of Doom? They just weren't there. I think they could have done a bit more of melee with those guys or something to. Yeah, I just thought that was. I thought that was a detail that was missing. There was like no one out there.
No one tried to help. Yeah.
No. And then of course, and I'm sure if you want to go through the match, but the aftermath with Booty Man and yeah, we'll go. Yeah, we'll
get to
go there. Yeah,
no worries. Blade.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this was almost like the re-debut or the coming out party of Hollywood Hulk Hogan. And I think a lot of the elements are there of what you see is like the classic presentation or the presentation that he sort of became known for during this era. as Kev said, he's powdering out of the ring a bunch, selling his fear of Giant, which is, showing Hogan's shift in mindset to the audience. Jimmy was annoying the fuck out of me with a megaphone. Um, Hogan telling the audience to shut up signifies that this is a shift for him. Although I did find it very funny that he's still so over with the audience. There's still so many people chanting his name. And I'm curious to see how long that effect remains.
Yeah.
Going forward. I thought Giant parodying the Hogan sequence was classic.
Interesting.
A little cheesy perhaps, but
No, that's fine.
sometimes that's what's needed. But yeah, I mean, I think as Kev said, like, the ending sort of didn't make a whole deal of sense. Like, yes, of course, the outsiders were gonna come out, but where's the Dungeon of Doom?
Yeah.
In response, like it just, they've built all this to a point, and there's all these warring factions and all this other sort of stuff going on, and then sort of you then decide, well, we're not going to have it at this point. Like, you need some consistency there.
Interesting. I have a theory, but we'll get to it when I get to it. I don't want to talk too much longer because we've been doing this for quite some time now. Thank you everyone for sticking with us. I want to ask you both, did you have a problem with the match whatsoever, like quality wise?
I I mean, like, look, I almost don't see it as a match per se, like, because let's be frank, a big portion of it was spent on the theatric stuff, right?
Yeah.
The stuff that we talked about with Hogan selling all of these things, and then you had that very lengthy power struggle between the two. Like,
Yep.
all said and done, there was very little wrestling that actually took place.
Was it necessary to have any more wrestling? This isn't a trick question, by the way. I
No,
want to talk about how Dave Meltzer hated this match and gave it minus half a star. Uh, and I'll get to star ratings afterward, but
I mean, look,
it was what it needed to be.
Yeah.
Hogan and Giant aren't going to have a barn burner, okay? Hogan's like a bit older now. Giant's the size he is. If you go into it with that thought in mind, maybe you see the match for what it is. It doesn't need to be anything more than that. I just wanted to see how you guys thought because I wanted to hear it from like normal people, like what they thought. Okay. So that's the thing about Hogan, right? He does a lot of stalling at the beginning here. He doesn't have to do too much to get a reaction. The people were reacting. Here's a little story. Once he worked against Kevin Nash in 1999, and Nash grabbed a tight headlock on Hogan at the beginning of the match, and Hogan said, "Easy, brother, we've already got their money." So Dave Meltzer hated when the Giant hulked up. I liked it. Maybe hokey, but he's doing something to get inside the head of Hogan here.
It kind of makes sense with the promo he did earlier on the night, being like the biggest Hulkamania fan.
Yeah, that's
so kind of like in context, it kind of makes some sort of sense, really.
It's tying it in, right? Fucking hell. I love the part where Giant got hit in the head with the world title.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen a title belt shot to the head that looked as good as that one.
But
what? Giant being
did he die? Did he die?
He was out cold for the whole next segment.
Like 8 minutes, he's sitting there, like not sitting there, lying there, like not moving.
No one coming to see if he's all right.
No, where's the Dungeon of Doom?
They should have at least warned about the ring. Fuck.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that was funny. Okay, so look, they're all so happy because Hogan wins the belt here. Again, odd that WCW weren't united in trying to help out here, but Okay, here comes the segment. Here comes the Booty Man, Ed Leslie, Brutus Beefcake, the Zodiac, the Butcher, whatever else was called. He's come out. He's got a birthday cake, and he sticks a can of spray paint in the corner of the birthday cake. It's Hogan's birthday. And Booty Man talks about 22 years of friendship and how Hogan's been there for him through thick and thin. Hogan turns on Booty Man, makes the comment, "If I'll do that to my best friend, what will I do to you?" As he's talking to Ric Flair and his matchup with him at Clash of the Champions coming up. Spray paint on the belt. The NWO is the only way to go. What you gonna do? With a solemn Tony, Bobby, and Dusty reacting to it. Blade, throwing it to you here.
I mean, I saw it coming from a mile away. Not
Right.
that it was Booty Man that was going to be the one that came out, but the
Okay.
turn I saw coming. What did that make it any less cool? Fuck no. I still thought it was awesome. Because it makes such a great point from Hulk. It's like, I don't give a shit if we've been friends for 5 seconds or for 22 years. Like, I'm going to do things my own way. And if that is stabbing you in the back, then that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a monumental mind shift in his character and his ethos,
Yeah.
that this just enhances the whole thing again. So yeah, I really loved it. I was just like, this is great. This is new Hulk.
What was that word you used just then? Did you say ethos?
Ethos, yeah.
Ethos. What's
Like,
ethos?
yeah, like his ethos, like his morals, his ethics, what
Okay,
he
his
believes
ethos. Of
in.
course,
Yeah.
his ethos. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never heard that word before in my life. Fucking private school kid.
Yeah.
Ethos sounds like Thor's uncle.
Man, every week, Blade drops a new word that I'm
He
like,
does. He
What's that
does.
one? What's that one? Like, I kind of know what it means, and I'm like, oh, that's okay, cool. I've got so that's another one. I'll add that one to my vocabulary.
And you
Thank
know
you.
what? I bet you Blaze just doing it just because he knows it. He's not doing it to impress anyone. He's not doing it because he's just learned the word. He's like, I gotta fit that in somewhere. I'll save that one for the podcast. No, this is just natural Blade.
Yeah, like I mean, how many conversations have you and I had? Like, this is just how I speak normally. This is not me affecting any sort of personality.
No. Kev, what did you think of the turn here on Booty Man?
Yeah, it's funny how he does end up being in the NW, just not this kind of version of him,
Yeah.
which is cool. The spray paint on the NWO belt was it's an iconic moment. We know that now. But I just looking back how they done it now, you could just this could have been a couple more small details that would have made that bit better. I think just they could have really hammed up that spray paint going on that belt. There was no one coming down to stop him doing that. I
No.
think they could have done that when like how dare like you can't do that to the WCW. This thing's prestigious, but it was just spray painted and there was nothing. But that's just being picky. I think it still was an iconic moment. But yeah, just think maybe Sting and Logan trying to come down and stop him, like desecrating that
Yeah.
title would have been a cool. And then the outsiders stopping them getting
Yeah.
there. I don't know, but yeah, I just think the lack of people doing anything on this pay per view to the NWO was yeah. Now looking back now, I kind of go, they could have done a bit more.
Right. Interesting. Because my theory was that maybe they didn't have the Dungeon of Doom come out there to do anything because the outsiders maybe didn't want to make it seem like they were going to be an even fight for them. You know what I mean? Like, I can see them being like that. Like, no, we're not going to get into a brawl where it's 50-50 with the Dungeon of Doom. That's just not happening. So maybe that's why. But just a theory. Anyway, Giant from his debut won 78 matches in a row, and now his streak is over. Hog Wild is over. Iconic moment in NWO history with the spray paint. So, okay. We get to the end here of Hog Wild, and I want to go to each of you guys and get, I guess, your what do we do, Kev? We have an MVP of the show.
Hmm.
Who would be your MVP here, Kev?
Go to Blade first. I'll have to think about this a bit more.
Okay, Blade, MVP of the show.
Ooh.
I got it.
MVP.
I'll give you some time to think, Blade.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to go woman.
Oh, very well done. Yeah,
I think she influenced a lot of the matches, and yeah, was integral to this pay-per-view, a lot of the results. So yeah, I'm going to go with her.
okay, that's a good one actually. Don't think too hard, Blade.
No, it's hard. There was a lot of good stuff.
You come up with it. Sorry, if you think too hard, you might come up with a cure for cancer or something. So,
I think for me, and being the extra context that you guys filled in, I'm gonna have to go with Harlem Heat. Like,
Yeah.
fuck, that, having all that knowledge now, you know, that's an insane thing to have to go through. And the fact that they managed to do it and do it in such a way that it never felt like, as an outside observer, if I was just casually watching it, I would have no knowledge of that, right?
right.
Like, you'd be like, oh, well, these people just hate, like, they just hate them because they hate
bad
them.
guys.
Yeah, exactly. But, like, now you've heard the retellings from Stevie Ray and all this other stuff, other knowledge that we have after the fact. Like, it's, fucking good on them for putting up with that, despite the fact that they should not have to. That's, fucking good on the boys.
Well, for me, my MVP is Scott Steiner, just because of I thought he was just so impressive in the ring in this on that match. Like, he was throwing Stevie Ray with a T-bone suplex, and he's doing drop kicks, and he's just when you look at Scott Steiner back then, I can't believe like he used to wrestle like that sometimes. So anyway, let's get to some other ratings here. We're starting off with, I've lost it. IMDb gave this a 6.4 out of 10 out of 130 people voting. And I found it now. Cagematch.net, out of 71 votes. Fuck, who gives a shit? 71 people. 6.47 out of 10. Blade. Kev, I'm starting with you, Blade. Out of 10, what would you give this pay-per-view?
Yeah, I think 6.5 is maybe a bit rough. I'd put it in the 7 area. I thought it was pretty solid.
Nice. How about you, Kev? Out of 10.
I found myself not enjoying this one as much as the other. I think it was 2 pay-per-views we've done beforehand.
Yeah.
I found enjoyed them more. I don't know why. I can't even put my finger on what the reason is. Yeah, probably a 6.8. I'd say for me.
0.8.
6.8 and a quarter star.
I'm just going to give it a 7 out of 10. I had fun watching it. And yeah, wasn't offended by anything on the show, really, just except for the general attitude of the crowd. Okay, so Dave Meltzer's star ratings, guys, before we find out what he had to say in the Wrestling Observer. He gave Ultimate Dragon and Rey Mysterio 3 3/4 stars. Ice Train and Scott Norton 1 star. Bull Nakano and Medusa 1.5 stars. Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit 4 1/4 stars.
Fuck off, like that.
Fuck off indeed, man. Harlem Heat and the Steiners 2 3/4 stars. They didn't even get a 3 for that match. You kidding me? Eddie and Ric Flair 3.5 stars. Outsiders versus Luger and Sting 1.5 stars, and Hogan versus the Giant -0.5 star. Oh no, -1.5 stars. Fuck you. Fuck you, dude. Oh my gosh. Anyway, well, there we have it for his ratings. But now, guys, we got to find out in the Observer after this pay-per-view what Dave Meltzer had to say.
That's right, it's time to find out what did Dave Meltzer say.
Well, you know what? I mean, I'd have to give that 5 stars.
Rumor has it that Mabel is going to be the third guy.
Here we go. WCW's Hog Wild pay-per-view took place this week and was a bit of a disaster. An hour before the show, a major blackout affecting 9 different states, mostly in California, meant many people weren't able to order the pay-per-view. As WWF learned a few months ago when a power outage killed their pay-per-view, most fans don't bother to order the replay, so the buy rate is sure to be affected by this. The setting of the show was also a negative. It took place outdoors on a platform over a bunch of dirt, which cut down some of the outside the ring action. The show took place at the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, blah, blah, blah. Crowd was estimated at about 5,000, although at one point on commentary, Bobby Heenan claimed there were 300,000. It was all bikers who don't watch wrestling and weren't familiar with the heel turn, so Hogan got a huge babyface reaction from the crowd.
Did Dave go and interview every single person and ask them? Okay, cool. I know.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah, no, he was on location there in Sturgis to ask
yeah,
every single one of them.
He had a source on the scene who asked everyone if they're a wrestling fan. Okay, I understand now. Okay, continue.
Just like he had that source, one of
the movie
Hogan's
set.
films.
What a dickhead.
The only wrestlers who got heel heat were Harlem Heat because they're black, and the Sturgis crowd doesn't particularly care for that sort of thing. What a sentence!
That sort of thing?
What the fuck is wrong?
God.
That's so funny, man. Blade, anything to say here?
Holy shit. I mean, like, this has got like the trappings of everything I hate about like internet fandom and people on the internet, like in the early days, right? It's like, firstly, the people in Sturgis don't know anything about wrestling or not fans of wrestling. What a fucking gatekeeper-esque attitude to have. Like, you fucking loser. Like, who gives a shit? They're there watching, regardless if they're fucking some dweeb writing their shitty newsletter in their fucking dimly lit apartment, or there's someone who's just shown up to like hang out with their friends. Who gives a fuck? Like, they're still being entertained. Wrestling is still occurring. People are enjoying it. Like, just enjoy your hobbies for the sake of enjoying them. It's sometimes what irritates me. And then like to put a lens on the fact that like the people of Sturgis don't like black people. Well, like, fuck you and fuck the people of Sturgis. Like, fuck's sake, you absolutely so frustrating.
I'm sure not everyone in the crowd were,
Yeah, they're all racist. Everyone there was racist.
Every single one of them. Like, I'm sure, like, and if they all found out at the end of the day that, like, Harlem Heat, I think they're both from Texas, aren't they? So,
yeah, oh man. Okay, I'm glad that last week was an anomaly and that everything we agreed about with Dave was undone this week. So
yeah,
good.
Straight up.
Business as usual.
Anything to follow up, Kev?
What's the original question?
No, just what Dave had to say here, the first part about,
he's just got his own agenda every single time. And like, just to give that match 4 stars with Ben Malenko, it's like,
it got no reaction.
That's part of that's part of the match. The reaction from the crowd. That's why wrestling never worked during the time when there was no crowd, because it needs that. That's a big part of the match. And if you're not getting that, you're just biased to your own personal taste that match was a 4 star. It's not. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of other matches that both those guys done that are gonna be 4 star or whatever, but that one wasn't their good one. It wasn't a good one. I couldn't tell you why. It just didn't work.
Okay, like, I just wanted to quickly say this because it pisses me off. He gave that match that got no reaction all those stars, right? What was it, 4.25? No reaction, but Hogan versus Rock, 3 stars. Hogan and Rock at WrestleMania with the biggest reaction ever, 3 stars. Fuck off, man. Oh my God. Anyway, you got two more things here that he said. As for the show itself, some of the matches were good, but the show was marred by bad finishes. Benoit Malenko's match would have been a match of the year candidate in any other setting, but this crowd couldn't have cared less, and it hurt the match. Hogan won the WCW title in a horrible match. Booty Man came out afterwards in an NWO shirt as if he wanted to be the newest member of the group, but Hogan, Hall, and Nash turned on him and beat him down and sprayed NWO on the belt. Anyway, the comment here about the Malenko and Benoit match just reeks of someone who's just... Does he get it? I saw you put your hands in your face whilst I was reading that, Kev. It's painful, isn't it?
Ugh.
The last thing he said was 123 kid Sean Waltman was scheduled to debut on the show as the fourth member of the NWO, but WWF hasn't sent him his contractual release after agreeing to do so, pretty much for no other reason than they wanted to fuck over WCW. Waltman was backstage at the show and ready to work, but without his official release, WCW couldn't allow him to do anything. Something about that kind of makes me think it's a bit of horseshit. Because I can see that maybe the first part would be right, but Waltman knows he can't appear if he hasn't got the release. So
why would he go all the way there?
Yeah, but why would he be like, I'm ready to work even though I don't have my official release? Why would he do that? He's not stupid. Unbelievable.
Maybe he was just doing that thing that they always talk about. Make sure you fucking bring your gear, brother, because you never know if you can get on the show.
That's it, bro. Well, that's all I've got to say with Dave Meltzer and what he had to say. Unfortunately, well, no, actually, fortunately. Let's get away from it, guys. So, any final thoughts? Anything else you guys want to say? I want to start with you, Blade.
Look, I think it's an interesting proposition for them to do this for like an event. And, I know that this is something that they sort of emulate in other arenas, like, Bash at the Beach and spring, like they did the spring break thing later on and all that sort of stuff. So like, it's a risk again, to do what they did. And, unlike Dave, I enjoy when companies are willing to try and innovate. If it doesn't work, like it doesn't work. Did I particularly enjoy the setting of Sturgis, South Dakota with its motorcycles? Like, no, it was loud. And I think at times like distracted a bit from the wrestling, but it was different. And that's also okay. So, I know you're not listening, Dave, but stick up your ass.
Kev, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just thought the setting of this pay-per-view it worked for some matches and it didn't work for others. It was as Blake said, it was a risk and it was different, and I like that. I'd rather that than this clean, shiny shit we get nowadays, which is just all the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a different atmosphere. And I sometimes it's cool to watch sometimes when it's different like this. So you get a bit of a different crowd. You get moments. There's a couple of iconic moments in this pay-per-view. Was it the best pay-per-view I've watched? No, but it definitely had some spots in it that were highlights for sure.
Yeah, this I like the fact that it was something different. That's the whole idea that Eric had here, was to just he wanted to do some things a bit different. So like they used to have Bash on the Beach, like on the beach. Right, now they have a fake beach set up for that. He said that doing outdoor things are rather expensive, but he wanted to do the Sturgis thing because he knew if he did it in Sturgis at this big bike rally that he might be able to attract some different sponsors. So he knew that he was going to take a loss on the fact that the crowd weren't paying for tickets. He knew he was going to take a loss on that, but they'll still make money on the pay-per-view. But what came out of it was that he got a sponsorship deal with Coca-Cola when they were bringing out a new product, which was Surge. I don't know if you guys know the drink Surge.
Yeah,
it was quite iconic. I've got a can of it behind my NWO flag there, actually. How much of a WCW fan nerd am I? I think I have the last remaining can of Surge in Australia. So that's the deal they ended up getting out of it by doing it in Sturgis. So best before date on that. So I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so they attracted some new sponsors, and I think that's at the end of the day, that's what he was looking for, and that's what he got. But anything different for me is interesting, and I'm just waiting for AEW to they're always copying some sort of thing that WCW did, but I don't know if I want to see Tony Khan dressed up like Gene was or anything like that. And that's what will end up happening. So anyway, guys, there we have it. Hog Wild 1996. Kev, I'm gonna let everyone know where they can find you.
Yes, you can find me on Facebook at Kevin Curran Music. Just type that and you'll find me. And my band Hail Mary is Hail Mary Band page on Facebook. On Instagram, it's Kevin Curran Music as well. And also anything else with Hail Mary, my band would be it's Hail Mary Band. Type that in, it'll come up and everything. And I'm on X as well. Hail Mary Kev, that's me.
Very nice. Blade, any final words to anyone out there listening, watching?
No, this week I'm all done talking.
Well, you can find me on X at California NWO. And I forgot to show you guys my can cooler here.
Hell yeah.
NWO Racing. I don't use it very often. Because of that reason, I can never get the can out. It's their can coolers in the US. Like, look how thick that is. It's so fucking thick. I've had it for years, and I thought I'd have it on this show tonight, but I nearly forgot to show it off. So yes. Anyway, that's where you can find me. And please like, subscribe, all that shit. I really would like the help, and I want to thank everyone out there for the support. Anyone who's given us support so far, you can join our Discord. Let us know what you think. We want to get some feedback. Leave some comments for us. So thank you again. And I want to thank you, Blade. Thank you, Big Kev. And tell you all that we will see you down the road.